Located in Cape Canaveral on Florida's Space Coast is the Oceanside Distillery, a small batch craft distillery that makes several types of spirits. Come along as we tour their operations with owner Ron Felino. If you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, I went to college at UCF, and then I studied business and engineering, and then I ended up, through my family, going to architectural school in Milano, Italy. I succeeded in that program and came back and opened up a design-build business, not knowing that I could not sit for the test as an architect in the state of Florida. So I really, although in my mind and in Europe I'm considered an architect, but here I would have had to intern in Georgia, take the Georgia test, and then come back to Florida, take the Florida. Well, I quickly found out that I didn't need it. There's so many engineers, and architects are just, you have to be kind of artistic. If you look at our labels, that's what I really have done well. I'm into the graphics and stuff like that. So I had a successful design-build commercial construction business for over 20 years. I have a family member who was involved in the distilling business, who originally was a chemist, and I had been acquainted with it from that, plus my family are wine and grappa people in Italy. So I had the best of both going on. I had an older brother who passed away. I think I told you, that's how I took this building over. I was building it for him, and when he passed, I said, I cannot let this dream go. I'm just going to close my other business up and do it. You know, we are one of a small group that are fresh from Florida by the Department of Agriculture. They awarded us a certificate as fresh from Florida, and we buy everything that we can from the state. We buy Florida corn, we buy Florida botanicals, we buy dehydrated sugarcane juice. This comes from the Lake Okeechobee-Pahokee area, dehydrated for us, and we get it in 55-pound sacks. This is fresh squeezed agricultural Florida sugarcane juice that's ready to go. And that's how we make our rums. Well, the still, guys, is called the iStill for a reason. It's Apple technology. Apple technology controls this brain. This brain is very powerful, connected to the PLC and the things in the back of the unit. It is both a pot still and a column still. And ethanol boils usually in Florida, around 78 degrees Fahrenheit or centigrade. And in fact, we let it run, 78 degrees centigrade, which is pretty darn hot.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I'm thinking, well, we don't even let the head start to come off until about 80 degrees centigrade. We pump it up more because we want to get rid of all of that methanol, sulfur, all those compounds that come off of the first distillation, which is the stripping. Basically, we like this still in this program because all of our recipes are put in here. This brain controls the entire operations through the two little cylinders that you see are robots. They connect with this mainframe and all the wiring and sensors that you don't see that are in the tank, running up into that through this. So once we program, the recipe is for life in there. We have trial and error since 2018, worked it out for the rum, for the vodka, for instance. It's all on temperature. Every bit is temperature controlled. So we begin by mashing in this unit also. We don't have a mash tun because it's, quite frankly, for right now, it's very unaffordable, and we don't need it. We've been functioning very well without it. So we can cook in here. We go to our settings here, and we usually stay at these temperature ranges. We start out high and we go down to low. We don't overcook any of the product. This still is 100% electric. It has 6 very large heating elements. I don't have my flashlight here, but those heating elements are encased in cubic zirconium type of a compound, which makes them become indirect. And they do not scorch the corn or anything that might be in there, from the botanicals to the thing once it achieves high temperatures. That agitator is another unique feature of this European still. Instead of it being a propeller, like you would see in most of the copper stills, the old one, this is a cone. These 3 cones agitate and do not create a whirlpool. They homogenize the spirit all the way around, or the mash. The column is what we use mostly for column runs for vodka. That column is filled with copper cones that look like the snack food bugles.
All right.
Yeah, so, and they have a function with ethanol. They produce a cleaner spirit because copper and ethanol, that's their best friend. It pulls off that bad methanol, sulfur compounds. And the still is so smart that once it starts as heads, hearts, and tails run, it will stop between each thing. We segregate everything in a bat into this tub, and then for the hearts and the tails, we usually go to our stainless steel thing because that's the true spirit. Okay. That is the cleanest and best part of it. Now, once we get into all of that, we have to start with fermentation. Our fermenters are 550 gallons apiece, and they are cold chilled on the sides and the rear. We have a large carrier chiller out back on the side, and we do a closed fermentation. I don't make alcohol. This makes the alcohol. We distill the alcohol that this makes. So day 6, we usually have 8 or 9, or if we're really lucky, over 9% alcohol by volume. When we find that, we immediately hook up our pump. We pump from the bottom out into the bottom of the still, fill it. We already have it warming up. We then begin what's called a stripping run. Now, the stripping is where the still is going to heat up and cook that already alcohol wash and get every bit of alcohol that it can out of that. Usually in 10-hour period for this still, we have anywhere from 40+% alcohol by volume for a stripping run. We then dispose of all of that wash, whether it's the corn or the sugar cane or whatever. We completely clean and detail the still. A day or so later, after the stripping alcohol is cooled down, we pump it back into the still. And then we begin a spirit run. That's where, through the rectification in the column and the distillation, we will achieve what we're looking for. For rums, somewhere in the 140 to 160 range. Bourbon, whiskey, we keep it at about 155, 159. We never go up past 160. And that's alcohol by volume. For me, this is a very manageable situation. We can do about 75, 80,000 gallons a year with this setup. Really? Running with the 3 fermenters, the still, the mash itself, and of course 2 shifts, because it takes quite a bit of time hour-wise. Yeah. The big aspect for us is we hand bottle. We hand bottle everything. Italian bottling unit. This was made for me. For a special reason. It's made in Italy by the Moris. It has an air pump that we hook up here via regulator. The filter that you see is a secondary polishing filter, as they call it. That is a 10-inch activated charcoal filter that we only use for vodka and for rum. It smooths it out. It will make sure that any telltale fruit fly, piece of corn, anything that might get by the original filtration will get caught in this. Now, the lab is probably the most important thing in the whole business, with exception of fermentation. Fermentation is really the big part of everything. We religiously pull no less than 2 bottles off of every line and test them. We're testing for 750 milliliters, just to make sure. The red line indicates a 750 dump. At any given moment, I'll say, grab me 2 bottles, dump them. So we're gonna try to see what happens with rye whiskey next. Not so much any of the rums. Rum's got a long way to go. They've been 1.5 years in the used bourbon barrels. And we have a vast selection of different things. We just, like I said, we made over 52 barrels of whiskey. Now this is 14-year-old Kentucky whiskey. Here's 44 gallons.
That smells
This is 2 barrels that were made in 2007. It sounds simpler, but it's a lot of work. The big work is the calculations for the yeast, the nutrient, watching everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've had to throw batches away. We were fortunate to be able to make these products in 2018. And we didn't open the business until a year and 2 months ago. So we had it going on, you know, we knew it was going to be, you know, we of course made vodka. We were working 12, 14 hours a day trying to get the stuff made, you know, and get it. The rum, the vodka, the gin, what we opened up with. That.
This is the acquisition?
This is the, yes.
Thank you.
It's at 100 proof.
Cheers.
And set that there.
Oh, that is smooth.
Wow, that is good.
Now this is at 120. This has not been touched. It is it is the same, similar mash bill to Angel's Envy. This is 75% corn, about 20% rye, and the rest is malted barley. The 14-year-old is very high corn and very low rye. So this is different. Color is good for 4 years, real good.
Good.
It is. It's very high proof. I'm going to knock it down to maybe 109 and go single barrel with these.
After your tour, enjoy craft cocktails as on-site mixologists conjure up a variety of different drinks using their products too. If you find yourself on the Space Coast, make sure you stop in for a visit to launch your vacation. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel.